From Neil M. Ferguson, Imperial College, June 14th, 2021. Subject, next steps, permanent lockdown of the UK, private and confidential. To Frank Atherton, Dr. McBride, Michie, Smith, Taylor, Valance, Van Tam, and Chris Whitty. We should look up those names and see. So I'm just going to read from the document here. With the impending decision and announcement to be made later today by the Prime Minister in regards to the 4-week extension of the lockdown of the United Kingdom, we now have a relatively short window of opportunity with which to finalize our next steps of the process. It remains crucial for everything to remain on track and for us all to remember our common purpose behind this. It has been tough and will get tougher, but provided that we stay united and we manage to persuade the bulk of the country that we're doing this for the good reasons, then we'll be able to move on with the part 2 of the plan. In short, this will be moving towards a permanent lockdown of the country from Thursday, July 15th, with the reasons for doing so being a spike in the new Indian, we know this is coming out, the variant, the Delta out of India, Kamala, it's called the Kamala, right? Kamala Harris, Vice President, whore that rides the beast. New Indian and Nepal variants. Remember the sludge coming out of India as well, which, as we know, is just a rebranding of hay fever. So it's really just rebranding hay fever, and they're going to call it the new variant. The virus has already been very profitable and fruitful for us, and there's no limit to which we cannot further profit in both financial and reputational terms. Still, we must ensure that we have complete and utter cooperation from both the government and the media with this, and use the line that is, quote, it is just too risky to go ahead with summer. We can model increases of these variants in line with, for example, 1, anti-lockdown protest. This would be a great one to push in light of recent events. 2, Euro 2021 football matches in England and Scotland, soccer matches. 3, where populations swell during the summer months, seaside resorts, as well as theme parks, as well as countryside and tourist traps. And they name some theme parks and seaside resorts as well. If we can get the message out that because of these variants are going to be multiple and will completely crash the NHS, National Health System, if not correctly dealt with immediately, then the public should be compliant, and the compliance and unquestioning nature of the masses will be crucial in getting us across the finishing line, and thereby we would have played our part in the changing of the country. It'll then be for the others to lock down as part of the Kalergi and the WEF, World Economic Forum, Schwab Plan, for other reasons such as the environment and water scarcity 2022 to 2023, food shortages 2023 to 2024, and global finance and mass inflation 2024 to 2025, culminating in finalization of the United Nations, the WHO, and the World Economic Forum Joint Global Kalergi Plan in 2025. Whilst we know there will be resistance to this, we must ensure that any and all resistance is kept to an absolute minimum, and this applies to all stratas of society, from the ordinary man, woman in the street to MPs and lords. Whilst over 70% support our actions, thanks to the modification from YouGov, we have a hardcore group of vehement so-called, quote, pro-freedom people who are determined to scupper us at any opportunity. The launch of the new GB News channel has only added fuel to this fire. Therefore, my plan is for us to apply as much pressure on social media companies in the United Kingdom to commence the following procedures immediately in order to protect us and what we are doing. 1. Block, ban, delete any and all posts and users which go against scientific consensus. 2. For websites to restrict and deny access to the above group, including cancellation of, quote, any accounts. 3. For anti-lockdown people and their group leaders to have their details forwarded to the police and be arrested for inciting hatred, violence, and civil disobedience. This is a provision already accounted for under the Coronavirus Act of 2020. For any parent guardian who openly states that they or their family will not be vaccinated, to have their children, elderly relative removed permanently from the home, and or for them to be removed from the property, regardless of ownership or deed entitlements. Regardless of ownership, deed entitlements. Regardless of ownership, deed entitlements. A copy of these proposals titled Combating COVID Disinformation 2021 has already been sent to Nick Clegg at Facebook, Jack Dorsey at Twitter, and Susan WSICKI at YouTube, and Sundar Pichal at Google Alphabet. Also, I understand that the Prime Minister is going to push for stronger action in this regard against the anti-lockdown movement, including deploying the Army, and for every street in the United Kingdom to be strictly and rigorously policed during the forthcoming July lockdown. I also have been updated by Serco, who are to release, quote, stay-at-home bracelets, which will act like electronic tags and will be made compulsory for every household in the country, with all residents and tenants, etc., being made to have both by law. This is already, in Israel's already doing this, and also the movie Songbird 2023, they have their bracelets. It's all part of the plan. Watch the movie Songbird, COVID 2023, please, if you want to see what they're talking about here. All right, these bracelets will work with the new 5G technology and will notify the CCC, the Central Command Center, if a person has ventured outside of their, quote, confined space, confined space, with punishments ranging from, get this, £50,000 fine to detainment into custody. That's $50,000 more than that for punishment per person. Or they can take you in custody, quote, for an indefinite period of time. Remember when Obama locked up people for indefinite periods of time without due process? That ended that. That's what's happening, folks. So the first batch of bracelets will be introduced in August in London, Birmingham, Nottingham, Cardiff, Belfast, Swansea, Manchester, Newcastle, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Liverpool, Leeds, Sheffield, Norwich, Cambridge, York, Exeter, and Carlisle, with second batches being introduced the following month and a third in November, in order to reach the outlying and hard-to-reach areas of the United Kingdom. The whole of the United Kingdom is scheduled to have these bracelets on and activated no later than St. Nicholas Day, December 1st, 2021. By getting people used to complying with us, we can break down any and all resistance to the new changes coming to the UK. However, we must always appear to be, quote, friends of the people, or friends of the people, and look as if we have their best interests at heart, so that they do not think counter to what we want them to do. We must get to the media to push the line that as too many people, more than the R rate, have died. The message is to always stay at home, protect lives, and save the NHS. As well as being scientists, we also need to keep up our good profile in the media and be savvy as we possibly can. Let's be savvy. We're going to be savvy in the media. Scientists being savvy. With regards to the new or extra, quote, variants, I would like to hear your opinions on the following prototypes. The capital variant, centered in London. Anti-lockdown protests and football fans attending Euro 2020 matches will be deemed responsible for a more aggressive variant which causes lung, heart, and kidney problems. This will mean locking down London effective Thursday, 15th July. The Dorset variant, centered in Bournemouth. People traveling to holiday in Bournemouth from London brought the capital variant into the area and has mutated into a new variant, which means the area must be locked down effectively Monday, July 19th. The border variant, centered on Scotland, England. People traveling between two countries have brought two different variants in these two countries, which are mixing and spreading, mutating with others variants. We could also work this in with the football fans attending the Euro 2020 matches in Scotland. This will mean a transport ban between the two nations from Friday, 2nd of July. Please also be aware that in order to get more people to be vaccinated, GlaxoSmithKline is to stop the production of medicines for common colds, flu, and hay fever, along with Johnson & Johnson, Bayer AG, Sanofi, Merck & Company, as of the start of July. No chemist will be able or nor allowed to sell them. We must count on the people's willing obedience as well as the Prime Minister's and his ministers to be compliant with us. We all know that if this were to unravel and fall apart, that the consequences would be dire. If we can continue to manipulate the majority, this will make things a lot easier and allow us to extra breathing space required. Example, if you're a true patriot, if you obey, follow, no bullying. Also, center groups such as blacks, Asians, and the, quote, gay community are being ignorant and problematic with regards to vaccinations. More is necessary to educate these groups, re-educate these groups into conforming, and having both vaccines when instructed to. Regarding our immunity from the future prosecutions, this depends both on the Prime Minister ourselves retaining a good relationship and both his and his government ministers complying. Compliance will be mandatory. He knows what leverage we have over him, and therefore he is bound and guided by us first and foremost we can get our way. However, we also have the literal get-out-of-jail-free card by stating that we are following the data and doing our best for the people. So long as that line continues to be put out in beliefs, such as in the case of the issuing the midazolam to the elderly, we should just be fine and will avoid any flack. In closing, therefore, let's keep this up and for the next few weeks and ensure that you are seen to be acting only in the best interest of the United Kingdom in fighting against the virus. Please print out a copy of this and keep under lock and key, and don't forget basic security as to what the public don't know will not hurt them. As ever, deny all knowledge of having received this information, even if this means to those you know. We don't want our emails to be hacked or compromised. Even if this means lying to those you know. Dun, 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 dun. Cue Mission Impossible. And then they list the last sheet here. First names of other people in country, or actually full names. Don Avery, Channel 5, Catherine Ainley, Ericsson Communication Company, Lord Chief Justice, Baron Burnett. Again, there's companies from the BBC, Channel 4, Metropolitan Police, Highways England, with people's names on here. So is it validated? Is it true? Or is this part of the onion? So in closing, this is not part of the onion. This is from Klaus Schwab's book itself, COVID-19, The Great Reset, he put out like 4 months ago. Darth Vader running, this is not a country by country. This is a world takeover. So it says in his book, at least 4 billion useless eaters, that was the Kissinger term, right? Get rid of the useless eaters, shall be eliminated by the year 2050 by means of limited wars, organized epidemics of fated, rapid-acting diseases, and starvation. Energy, food, and water shall be kept at subsistence levels for the non-elite, starting with the white populations of Western Europe and North America, and then spreading to other races. The population of Canada, Western Europe, and the United States will be decimated more rapidly than on other continents until the world's population reaches a manageable level of 1 billion, of which 500 million will consist of Chinese and Japanese races, selected because they are people who have been regimented for centuries and are accustomed to obeying authority without question. It's not conspiracy, folks. This is really happening. Please share with all. Thank you.